everyone, welcome back to Reasons for Roots. My name is Lauren. Today I'm going to show you inside a really cool resource that we had just started using this year. It is written by Karen Glass and it is The Art of Composition. So if you are familiar with Charlotte Mason and her method, then you know narration is the foundation. It is the core. Okay, so what Karen Glass has done is has broken it down for us to be able to help our high school students thrive with their narration. So Karen Glass is the writer of No and Tell, and that is a phenomenal book. If you have not read it and you currently have students narrating, or you just need a refresher course on narration, or maybe you don't even know what narration is, I would definitely start with No and Tell. It has great information, and she says that all the information she uses for this course is actually in the book, but she just breaks it down for us and helps us, digest it a little bit better. So I'm going to show you a flip through. So this is The Art of Composition Year 1. I believe she's going to do 4 years for high school. So starting with Year 1, this is published by Simply Charlotte Mason. Okay, and you can tell that it's broken up here into modules. So there's 3 modules for 3 terms. So most Charlotte Mason schools are going to be broken into terms. And you can see module 1 is editing, module 2 is reverse outline, and module 3 is the craft of writing. So it basically builds upon itself. She has just an introduction sheet, and then she has to the teacher and tells you exactly how it's supposed to be laid out, what the lessons entail, and then you'll have lesson 1. Okay, so she's talking to the student here. So your student will read the small little lesson here. They will do some practice editing or some kind of practice the skills here, and then the assignment. And so for the first few weeks, what they're doing is editing their own narrations, and they have a chart like you see here where they can keep up with the mistakes that they found in their own narration. Okay, so lesson 2 is very similar to lesson 1. And something that I am impressed with is this commonplace section. So she will assign your student to choose maybe a quote they read or from their favorite book and put it in the back of the book in their commonplace section. Okay, they get into like clauses, so some grammar, complex sentences, and so it just walks through a lot of grammar as well as taking the narration that they had written that week. So what my daughter does is she chooses the best narration or her favorite narration of the week, and then she will use this lesson, and it usually takes 20 to 30 minutes to complete one of these. And this is meant to be done in probably 20 to 30 minutes one time a week. So this is not a very intense course. This is not something you're going to do every single day, because as they write their narrations, then they will use this to come back and make them stronger. And so within module 1 is 12 different lessons. So each module will have 12 lessons plus an exam. So you have introduction to editing, reading aloud to edit, understanding clauses, using variety in sentence structure, creating complex sentences, avoiding sentence fragments, avoiding run-on sentences, keeping an eye on capitalization, using apostrophes correctly. Lesson 10, being aware of homonyms. Lesson 11, using quotation marks correctly. Lesson 12, adding tone to writing. And then you will have your exam. And for the exam, basically it's just this one page here, and it says the parent should choose an uncorrected written narration from any part of the term or from another part of the exam week, and the student should edit it alone, finding and correcting any mechanical errors and rewriting an error-free version of the narration. the chart and the checklist may be provided. And so what she's talking about is the checklist. Let's see. It's like the checklist here that they are used to using. Then module 2 is reverse outlining. So it's introduction to outlining, rewriting from narration notes, arranging formal outlines, writing formal outlines, rewriting from formal outlines, using outlines as narrations, arranging graphic outlines, creating graphic outlines, rewriting from graphic outlines, more outline practice, more writing practice, then reviewing the use of outlines, and then your exam again. Okay, then module 3 is the craft of writing. Lesson 1 is the courtesy in writing. Lesson 2, introduction to introductions. Lesson 3, using effective introductions. Lesson 4, introduction to conclusions. Lesson 5, various purposes for conclusions. Lesson 6, introduction to transitions. Lesson 7, creating transitions. Lesson 8, using clear transitions. Lesson 9, improving introductions. Lesson 10, improving conclusions. Lesson 11, using transitions well. Lesson 12, practice your writing skills. And then you have your module 3 exam. So in the back, you have a piece of cardstock kind of separating. You have a spelling journal where they can record words that they are commonly misspelling. They have a grammar journal where they are to take notes on grammar and the uses or how they're using it in their narration, and maybe some rules if they need that. There's there's rules for capitalization, punctuation, and then they can put them where they need to be. Then we have their commonplace journal. She starts asking you to write in the commonplace journal the second week. So my daughter chose her favorite quote from the week that she had read, and then they give you plenty of pages to have that. So she does tell you, it gives you a little snippet here about the course. And she says if you need a grammar handbook, Right is the one that she references to. I just use the grammar books that I have on hand. I'm just using Ron and Staff to reference back to. Then just to show you another lesson, this one is just talking about clauses, and she walks you through that. She gives you a little practice work to do, and then you have the assignment section. Okay, and so basically this is going to walk you through, or your child through, how to check clauses in their narration. Okay, they have their list, and they will use this list or checklist every single time. And then there's always some kind of assignment. Sometimes it's the commonplace journal entry like I showed you. Other times it's like this, creative narration. You are a fluent narrator, but you might want to try your hand at creative narration. And so basically she's telling them to the coming week to make one of their narrations creative and to write it from the first person standpoint. Okay. Lesson 4, you see is commonplace here. A commonplace again. Creative narration. And so she just alternates between the commonplace and the creative narration part. And so like for this creative narration, if you like to write poetry and rhymes, try writing your narration as a poem. See, just things to kind of shuffle up their narrations a little bit. So that's just a quick peek inside the art of composition by Karen Glass. So this is written for your fluent narrator. So if you're new to Charlotte Mason, even if your child's in 9th grade, I might wait and plug this in after they become a little more fluent. But I hope you enjoyed this. I'll flip through. If you have any questions, let me know.